Alright, YouTube fans, followers of mine. Today we're gonna learn how to chair flight. It's the cheapest way you can ever learn to fly, guarantee, right? So all you need is an airplane. Whether you have a pilot license or not, all you need is an airplane. So this video is basically more for students and prospective students. Sorry, I got a Jamaican accent. So student and prospective students, right? So in order for me to be able to effectively maximize my lesson, I would chair flight. I usually do it in my car at home, but it helps when you do it in the actual airplane itself. So if you're a student pilot and you need to practice your maneuvers and your different procedures that you need to do, chair flying is the perfect time for you to do that. So we're sitting here at Kilo Mike Yankee Foxtrot, and of course you can see it's broken right now, so this is just not the weather that I can do my solo. So in the meantime, I need to prepare for my check ride, right? It's the final flight exam, where when you pass that, you get your private pilot's license. In my case, that's what I'm working on, right? So chair flying today, I'm gonna be going through a list of maneuvers that I need to do in order to demonstrate to my instructor first that I'm ready for my flight exam, and then finally to the instructor that is gonna be the examiner, the flight examiner, that's gonna check me off to say you've demonstrated within private pilot standards. Congratulations, you're now a private pilot. So anyways, we're gonna do, so I have the checklist for the airplane, right? So this checklist is crucial. Now the first thing I'm gonna do is just make a little more room here. So all right, now first maneuver that I want to practice is slow flight. We're gonna fly this airplane as slow as possible without stalling the airplane. So first thing I want to do to set up for my maneuver, I want to do a flow check, which is I want to make sure the aircraft is ready. So it's called a flow check. The first thing I want to do is make sure that my fuel selector valve is on both, right? Because we're feeding off two tanks, one on the left, one on the right, and in maneuvers you're going to be banking and doing all these things. So first thing you want to make sure is that our fuel selector valve is on both, so we're getting fuel from both tanks going into the reservoir, and then later on it trickles down and into our engine to keep our engine running, right? So next, and by the way, just a disclaimer, this is for a Cessna 172. If you're flying a Piper Arrow or something else that does not allow you to feed from both tanks at the same time, then you gotta skip that part, whatever your flow check is. So you just want to make sure you're getting fuel from the appropriate tank. If you're using a 172, you make sure your fuel selector valve is on both. We double check that our fuel shutoff valve is in. The fuel shutoff valve is where if there was an engine fire and you want to cut off that supply of fuel going to the engine, we would pull this out and that would shut it off, so no fuel will continue to go into the engine and, you know, make the fire flames even more. So make sure fuel shutoff valve is in, right? And then next we're gonna make sure the mixture is rich. All right, if you're at certain altitude, then, you know, depending on the altitude that you're flying, this can be, usually I just say mixture for best power, because if I have it fully rich and I'm at 5,500, then my engine is you might do that, right? So mixture for best power. Want to double check my power setting, right? Make sure that whatever power I set is giving me the maneuvering speed, which according to the plot card here, maneuvering speed should be 99 knots. So I make sure my power is nicely set. That's giving me nothing over 99 knots. It's better to be under than over. Then next, I want to make sure my lights are on, depending on where I'm at. Want to make sure my lights are on, so my strobe is on, my beacon is on. And next, I wanna, you know, my avionics should be on, which, you know, that's where my radios, GPS, nav 1, nav 2, all these things will work when I have my avionics on. I want to make sure the master is on, right? So when the master is on, that means that my alternator is rotating. It's giving me that 28 volt that the system produces. So make sure that is on, and I want to make sure that my magnetos are on both. So where you have the ignition switch, make sure it's on both, so we know we're getting maximum power from the engine. Next, we're gonna double check that our seat belts are securely fastened. So if I have anyone with me on board, make sure that at that point both of us are wearing our seat belt for safety, right? So here's the flow check, what it looks like in real time. Alright, the examiner will tell me, okay, go ahead and set us up for slow flight. Alright, fuel selector valve on both should have valve in, mixture for best power. Power is set. Lights are on, master on, mags are on both, right? Seatbelt securely fastened. Flow check complete. That's for inside the airplane itself. Next, I want to do clearing turns. So when you're doing your clearing turns, basically you're flying along, you don't know who is to your left, who is to your right, who is behind you, you know, so you want to get a good scan of the area around you. So after we do our flow check, next I want to look out for traffic. So I have two options for clearing turns. Now I can do, so right now I'm on a 3, 4, 5 heading, basically northwest-early direction, right? Now I have two options for clearing turns. I can turn to the left 90 degrees and then back to the right 90 degrees, or I can do a 180 degree turn. So I'm going this way, just make a 180, and I would be right back facing that direction, because I took a U-turn basically. 180, boom, and I'm now facing to the south, right? So I'm gonna do two 90 degrees turn. I kind of like the 90 degrees turn because I still keep going in the direction when I was asked to do the maneuver. So to do that clearing turn, what I'm going to do is, okay, I make note of what heading that I am on, and then 90 degrees to the left. So we're going to start it to the left. First thing I want to do, I lift my left wing. So I'm going to turn my ailerons to the right. So I lift my left wing up, right, which is banked to the right. So I lift the left wing because this is a high wing airplane. It's a Cessna 172 high wing. So my blind spot is above. I can see everything beneath. If there was a guy to my left above me, I wouldn't be able to see him because my blind spot for the 172 high wing, it's above the wing. So I just lift the left wing high enough where I can look underneath, looking out. Okay, I don't see any traffic, level my wings, and I go into that left turn, and of course I'm staying coordinated with my rudders, right? So I'm turning. Okay, there's my 90 degrees. I level my wings, right? Then I'm gonna raise my right wing, so I turn to the left, lift the right wing, look underneath. Okay, I don't see anyone, level my wings, and then I go into that right turn. I'm staying coordinated with my rudders, right? And so here we come. Okay, 90 degrees, we're back where we started. So I've scanned the area with my clearing turns. No other traffic is in the vicinity, but I'm not sure. A lot could have changed by the time I did those two clearing turns. So next thing what I want to do is a radio call. I want to let people in this area know what I'm doing, where I'm at, who am I, and my altitude, right? So the radio call would sound something like this. So here's my chart, and for my next flight exam I'm gonna be going out to the northwest rather. So I'm gonna be in this area. For those who live in San Diego, you know, I'm gonna be going up to Del Mar racetrack. So I'm gonna be like over Santa Fe, right? Over Santa Fe, and usually we face the Escondido Creek, you know, in this area right here. So I'm gonna make a radio call based on the airspace, which I'm not teaching you guys airspace, but based on what's happening here, I need to be, so I'm gonna say I'm at 4,500 in this area doing some maneuvers, right? Would that allow me to be at 4,500? Yes, because I'm in this airspace right here. 6,800 to 10,000 is the Bravo, right? And so I got to make sure I stay clear of that. But because I might mess around here in Ranco, Santa Fe, and there's a Bravo airspace 3,800 to 10,000, if I go up to 4 or 5 and for any reason I get drift off course, I'm gonna bust this Bravo. So to be situationally aware and make the right aeronautical decisions, I'm not gonna do 4,500. I'm gonna stay at 3,500. So that gives me 300 feet. Alright, and I'm gonna stay north of Del Mar Racetrack at 3,500 doing my maneuvers. So it looks something like this with the radio call. San Diego Coastal, white Cessna, right? 3,500. What are we doing? So that's who we are. We're where we are, who we're addressing. San Diego Coastal. We are a white Cessna. Our altitude is 3,500 feet or 3,500. We would just say maneuvering. Alright, they don't need to. It's not all the time you specify, but we say maneuvering, so that will tell them we're in the area, but they still don't know exactly where I'm at. So I would say we are 2 miles north of Del Mar Racetrack. So this is what it sounds like in real time in San Diego Coastal, white Cessna, 3,500, 2 miles north of Del Mar Racetrack, maneuvering San Diego Coastal. That's my radio call. So I've made my radio call. I let people know in the vicinity where I'm at, what I'm doing, you know, so they can have an idea and become situationally aware themselves. And we've done our flow check. We have done our clearing turns. We've done our radio call. So now we're gonna set up for the maneuver. All right. So I was cruising along. I pulled my power to 1,500. So power is gonna come to 1,500. And I want the airplane to slow down. That's why I pull my power to 1,500, because this is slow flight. You want to go as slow as possible. Now below 110, so when I pull my power to 1,500, I look at my airspeed indicator and it says I'm below 110 knots. So I'm gonna put 1 notch of flaps, right? 10 degrees of flaps below 110. When I get into the wide arch, which is 85 and less, I'm gonna do 20 degrees of flaps. Of course, at this point, I make note of my altitude. Okay, I skipped something. Sorry, guys. Okay, so gotta watch my altitude. Next, which is very crucial that I missed, I want to have a visual checkpoint outside of the aircraft, as well as set my heading bug on the inside, because in private pilot standards, they're gonna be making sure that I am within standards. So plus minus 5 degrees off my heading, plus minus 100 feet off my altitude. So I cannot lose altitude in this maneuver, and I cannot go beyond, I cannot go beyond 100 feet off my altitude, and I shouldn't be beyond 5 degrees of my heading. So that's one part that I skipped. Before I go into slowing down the aircraft, I want to make sure I have a visual checkpoint outside. So in this case, I'm gonna use Lake Hodges, right? So I'm in front of Lake Hodges, right? So I have the lake inside and I set my heading bug. So this will tell me when I'm done with the maneuver, I should still be facing Lake Hodges. I should be at 3,500 and I should be on my heading on the inside. So let's go into it now. Flow check complete, clearing turns complete. I have my radio call complete, and I have my visual point outside the airplane. I have a heading bug set on the inside. So now I can pull my power to 1,500. So power come to 1,500. Below 110, we can do 10 degrees of flaps. We're in the wide arch. Below 85, 20 degrees. Still in the wide arch. Below 85, 30 degrees of flaps. So all our flaps is set. The plane is slowing down, and I'm now trimming to maintain altitude. I have that back pressure helping me to maintain altitude. I'm gonna let my examiner know my comfort zone for slow flight is I'm gonna be at 50 knots, right? So I'm gonna do slow flight at 50 knots. So here's my airspeed. It's saying 50 knots. Now, aerodynamically speaking, I am on the back side of the what do you call it? Reverse side of the curve. There's this curve they talk about. I'll send a description in the thing below or something. But when you're on the back side of this particular curve that I forgot the name of it, if I'm losing my altitude and I would pitch, I'm gonna have big problems. I'm gonna stall the airplane, right? So when you're on the reverse side of making the plane do what you want it to do, I really need to remember that term. Maybe I'll paste it in the video or something to let you guys know. Power curve. I'm on the reverse side of the power curve. Yeah, I think that's the name. So if I realize, okay, I'm at 3,500 and I'm dropping altitude, I cannot pitch for altitude. I have to power for my altitude. So I'm gonna increase power to maintain my altitude, and I'm gonna, if I realize I'm getting too fast or too slow, I'm gonna use my pitch to keep my speed stable. So pitch for altitude, power for, pitch for airspeed, power for altitude, because I'm on the reverse curve, reverse power curve, right? I'm on the reverse side of the power curve. So one more time, if I'm losing altitude, I need power. If I'm gaining or losing airspeed, I need to adjust my pitch. So power for altitude, pitch for airspeed. Power for altitude, pitch for airspeed. Now I can tell, I can hear the stall warning is making a lot of noise because I'm flying dangerously slow. I'm flying really slow. Not dangerous, but it's slow, right? So the stall warning will go off. Any sudden burst of wind that hits me, I gotta make quick correction so I can hear the stall warning. The controls are really heavy at this point because enough airflow is not going over that wing. So all the controls, they're just like, you know, stiff. They're hard. They're just. And then the examiner say, okay, give me a left turn to a heading of 200. Give me a left turn 200. Okay, so with this you got to be real gentle on the controls. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lift my left wing to make sure visual point is, visually I scan the air. Let's lift my left wing, and then I go into the bank. I don't want to exceed anything beyond a standard 10-degree turn, you know, because the more we bank is the more we're gonna need